I was with a group of executives a couple of weeks ago at a major healthcare company, one of the largest in the world. And one of the women who was part of the program came up to me afterwards and got real emotional and really almost started crying when she talked about the fact that she had a really difficult time connecting with people. She is an introvert, and she is interviewing for C-level positions at this organization. So very senior, very accomplished woman. And she said to me, Jody, I'm going through the interview process and I just can't connect. I'm so reserved and I feel uncomfortable and I feel like the people on the other side of the table just don't like me. And it was one of those really emotional, raw moments where I had a ton of compassion for her. And I felt bad, not pity, but bad, because here she is, a total rock star. She's going to become a senior executive, C-level executive at this organization. And the company that she's part of is pouring a ton of resources and energy into her promotion. And so we talked about the idea of how do you connect with people. And there's 3 strategies that I always talk about. And if you are an introvert, this is really, I think, especially important for you. Because you don't have to be extroverted, you don't have to be outgoing, you don't have to be, big and boisterous and charismatic. Not everyone is. And you should never try and be someone you're not. So the 3 strategies that I want to suggest to you are: 1, ask yourself this question: what can I learn from the person sitting across from me? 2, ask yourself this question: why is this person in my life at this point in time? And if 1 and 2 fail, then the 3rd strategy is this: acknowledge the distance between you and the person you're talking about and be transparent about it. And that turns into a conversation piece. So number 1, what can you learn from this person? If you're not trying to work so hard to make a connection, if you're not trying to figure out what you have in common, instead go with, oh, you work in forensic accounting? I don't even know what the heck that is. Tell me about that. That's so interesting. So go into a place of learning versus connecting. It's not awkward, and you will potentially establish a connection there. 2, if you are really puzzled, then why do you think this person is in your life? Maybe it's so that you can practice trying to carry on with someone who's super different from you. Maybe it's to give you a sense of what you're not interested in, right? But figure out maybe what's the underlining thing there. Maybe the reason you're having a conversation is so that you can say to yourself, you know what? That's not the way I want to interact with others, or I don't want to go into that type of business. I don't want to be part of a team like that. So maybe it's just establishing a contrast for you. And then the last piece is this. Maybe you say to yourself, you know what? You and I are really far apart on the spectrum, but you can voice that. So for instance, this woman I was speaking to was talking about the fact that while she was going through the interview, she was talking to 2 men significantly older than her from a different culture, and they were talking about their weekend plans. And it was so vastly from what she was doing. She had been on a girls' trip in Vegas. She was 20 years their junior. And my response to her was this: instead of being ashamed about how different your weekend was, acknowledge it. Throw it out there as a conversation piece. Like, wow, that sounds really cool what you were doing with your family. I had a totally different experience. I was off at a girls' weekend in Vegas, which is probably something you would not have been doing, but here's why it was fun, or here's why it was interesting. So acknowledge the distance between the person you're speaking to and where you are. That makes for good conversation. That is a way that you can establish connection, not by trying to be similar to them, but by acknowledging how different, in fact, you are. So if this resonates with you, if this makes sense for you, head on over to greatonthejob.com/career and check out Be Great on the Job online with tons of information about how you can develop executive presence, how you can build your network, how you can connect with others, how you can master daily conversations. Thanks. Talk to you soon.